Good morning, welcome to Erasmus TV. While the number of corona patients is still decreasing, the number of people waiting for surgery is still increasing. How do you decide to get operated first? Our health reporter Farayat went to the hospital and asked some people.
Hoe denkt u dat er nu gekozen moet worden? Welke patiënten als eerst geholpen moet worden?
Ik denk het belangrijkste is dat de behandelende arts zeg maar, daarin de keuze heeft.
Ik zou zeggen gewoon degene die als eerste ingepland stonden voor de behandelingen.
Mijn eigen overtuiging is de mensen die het langste kunnen genieten van hun leven. Dus eigenlijk de mensen die het langste, eigenlijk de grootste kwaliteit van leven hebben hierna.
Nu zijn er een paar wetenschappers en artsen ook die een programma hebben opgesteld. Een wiskundig programma waarmee ze kijken naar verschillende parameters. En zeggen dat wiskundig programma dus zal kunnen gaan bepalen van die en die patiënt die komt eerst en daarna de andere patiënten. Hoe vind je dat eigenlijk?
Ja, zou wel interessant kunnen zijn, ja.
Dus ik denk ook dat zo'n wiskundig programma bij kan dragen, maar ik denk niet dat dat zeg maar de overmacht moet hebben. Het moet niet alleen vanuit dat wiskundige programma berekend worden.
Nou ja, ik ben een mensenmens, dus ik geloof dat de mens meer heeft dan zijn klachten die hij heeft en ook de urgenties. Ik denk dat daar ook heel goed naar gekeken zou moeten worden naar mijn idee. Hoe is de situatie van mensen? Ik bedoel, de ene mens kan het psychisch ook beter aan om even te wachten nog dan de ander. Ook al is misschien de klacht wel wat ernstiger.
And how can it go any differently? Of course, my guests both work at the Erasmus Medical Center. Welcome to both of you, researcher Hester Lingsma and surgeon Baatenburg de Jong. Rob, to start with you, same question those people in the video got. How do you decide who is a prioritize?
I think it really depends on the situation. In the situation we came from, in the pre-COVID area, we had everything at our disposal. There were waiting lists, but not too long, not too heavy. Now we become in a situation that there's scarcity, and we cannot deal with every problem at the same time, so we have to make choices. And the thing is, how do we make the best choices? And that's the thing. That's what we have been thinking about, and that's how we came up with this model. This model is a decision tool. It's helping us to decide. It's not deciding on itself.
And it's more than a tool that just says, well, this person has been on the waiting list longest, so he or she goes first.
No, it's on the contrary, really. We think that we did some research and we found out that people with one disease have more loss of health being on the waiting list than the others. So it seems wise to choose those who have the biggest chance of health loss while being on the waiting list.
Hester, question to you. What kind of criteria does this mathematical tool take into account when looking at people?
Yeah, so that's actually what Rob already said a little bit. So the model takes into account actually 5 parameters. First is the chance that you survive before your surgery. So the second is the chance that you survive once you had the surgery. And then there's also the quality of life. So not only survival, but also how your quality of life is actually before you get this operation and afterwards. And then we have the mean age of patients that are waiting for a specific surgery. So in combining these 5, the model gives an estimate of the health loss, so in terms of quality adjusted life years, as we call it, that people experience while they're waiting for their surgery. And that's then more for one specific operation than for the other. So it's actually, the model is based on average patients. And that's on the one hand a limitation, on the other hand it gives room for the decision being made, of course, by the doctor.
Yeah, and Rob, you're a doctor. This doesn't sound as differently as it would normally be.
Well, as a matter of fact, it is. First of all, the situation is different, like it said in the beginning. But now we are together with all specialists together deciding what is going first. And before, that was done by the specialist in their own silo. So as a surgeon, you could decide to do the pancreas before the stomach. But now the neurosurgeons comes into play and say, hey, my brain surgery is important too. I want that spot on the operating list. So that's a whole new situation we are dealing with. And this tool is helping to deal with that situation. So you can compare apples and oranges. And you can compare a operation to the stomach to a operation to the brain. And that is of course limited to health gain, like Esther said, survival, gain in survival and gain in health, quality of life. But it's a big improvement compared to the situation we came from.
And Hester, as we saw in the video, some people, have trouble accepting that an algorithm makes these kinds of decisions. Is this also a controversial point of discussion in the hospital?
Yeah, so first, it's not the model that actually decides, it's a decision tool, so it provides input to the people who eventually make the decision, the doctors, based on the individual patient. And I don't think it is very controversial, actually. Of course, ideally, you want to treat everybody, but in this situation where we have scarcity and limited resources, you have to make decisions and you have to make choices. And I think that most doctors agree that if you have to make choices, that optimizing health benefit is a good way to think about it and to prioritize.
And do you think, Hester, that using this tool, different decisions will be made?
Yeah, so at present we're back, fortunately, in a situation where the tool is not really needed. When we showed the first results, there were some things that were maybe sort of surprising, and I think that's has to do with doctors usually looking in their own silo, and now we compared between diseases and we saw some surprising things. So maybe if you really would use the model, that could lead to slightly different decisions on who to treat first.
You said surprisingly. What did surprise you?
Well, I'm not a medical doctor, so I wasn't particularly surprised. But for example, what I've learned that a lot of oncological surgeries went through also of the crisis, while these are not the surgeries where you usually gain most health, actually. So that provided sort of a different view on things.
Do you think that the choices that were made during the corona crisis would have been made differently if we could have used this tool already?
Yeah, I'm not really sure about that because I don't involved I'm of course not involved in clinical care, so I'm not certain about that actually.
Rob, Hester already said that this tool isn't really in use at this moment. Why not?
Well, maybe I can come back to the previous question, because as a doctor, we have the reflex to treat the most serious diseases first. And now it appeared during the crisis that you better operate people who have a bigger health gain by surgery than the ones who are in the most serious condition. And that is really a big change compared to how we thought before. We didn't put that into place because now currently the ORs are back up running. Our capacity is now 100%. The only problem is that now we have too few beds and our patient clinics are not very busy because we have to have the 1.5 meter rule. So the influx of patients has gone down. So now we are getting into more easy times, but we are preparing for the second round of COVID, which will apparently come. And then we want to be prepared and do the best thing we can. And that's how the model is working and helping.
So you say, thanks to this tool that you and a lot of your colleagues, of course, created, we will be more prepared for when another crisis will hit us.
Exactly. And whether that crisis will be corona or a shortage of budget, which is very likely to happen in the next couple of years, then also we have to make decisions who to treat first or who we have to treat at all.
Yes. Does this also give you confidence, Hester, if you look at the future?
Yeah, I think it does. It's as Rob said, it's sort of a new way of thinking that can help us outside crisis situations. And of course, we don't want to be in crisis situations. But there also it can help to think in a slightly different way and to look over specialties. And indeed, when there is scarcity for any reason, then this tool might help to prioritize and to think about that.
Well, it's really good to hear that two medical specialists are feeling confident about the future. That will give us all lots of hope. Thank you both for joining us, even if it's on Skype, and keep up the good work. We will be back here on Tuesday. So thank you for joining, and thank you all for watching. See you back here.